Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to News Focus tonight. I'm El Samuels, and tonight Ghana confronts critical questions about urban planning, disaster preparedness, and economic recovery. Higher education governance and Africans' place in the global financial system, from devastating floods and the fire outbreak in Accra to renew calls for debt reforms on the international stage. We bring you the stories shaping the national conversation. Now, the brief stories that we'll look at before we go to bring you insight is to start for the destruction of wetlands blamed for reoccurring Accra floods. Accra is once again counting the cost of severe flooding after Wednesday's heavy rain submerged communities and displaced residents and disrupted economic activities. Experts are warning that the continued destruction of wetlands and retention ponds, natural flood control system is worsening the city's annual flooding crisis. The debate comes exactly 11 years after the June 3rd disaster that claimed more than 150 lives and exposed weakness in urban planning and drainage infrastructure. Rapid urbanization, encroachment on waterways, poor sanitation, and weak enforcement of building regulations have repeatedly been cited as a cause of flooding in the capital. Tonight, we want to focus on one thing. Has Ghana learned the lessons of June 3rd and what urgent interventions are needed before the next major downpour? Has Ghana learned lessons of June 3rd and what urgent interventions are needed before the next downpour? The Ghana National Fire Service says it responded to several emergencies following the June 3rd downpour, including flood rescues and fire outbreaks across parts of Accra. Emergency teams rescued stranded residents whilst battling fire in separate locations, highlighting the growing pressure on emergency response agencies during a period of extreme weather. Floodwaters often complicate access to affected areas, delaying emergency intervention and increasing risk to life and property. Tonight, on our second question, we want to ask, are emergency services adequately equipped to deal with simultaneous disaster? A two-story building reportedly collapsed at a Delta news site following the early heavy rains, resulting in the fatality and injuries. The incident has renewed concerns about structural integrity, compliance with building regulation and enforcement by local authorities. Ghana has witnessed several building collapses over the years, with experts frequently attributing them to poor construction standards and weak regulatory oversight. Our focus tonight is, are enough inspections being conducted to prevent future tragedies? Now we move around to Kumasi, the Ashanti region, where the Komfo Teaching Hospital has resumed emergency admissions after implementing measures to ease severe congestion that previously forced restrictions on emergency cases. The Komfo Teaching Hospital serves as a major referral center for northern Ghana and parts of the Middle Belt. Overcrowding has become a recurring challenge due to increasing patient numbers and limited infrastructure. Tonight, our focus has to be on what does the situation reveal about pressure on Ghana's health system. Now to the presidency, where the President John Dramani Mahama has challenged the global financial system, urging that African debt is often unfairly priced and the debt reoccurring mechanisms must become faster and fairer. Speaking at the investor conference in London, the president reaffirms Ghana's ambition to regain investment grade status within 3 years, whilst advocating reforms that would benefit developing economies. Ghana continues to recover from the 2022 debt crisis and restructuring program. Can Africa reshape global financial rules, or will the continent continue to face higher borrowing costs? And still on the African continent, calls for African self-reliance are gaining momentum following remarks stressing the need for a major institutional regional integration and homegrown development solution. The message aligns with the broader Accra Reset vision promoted by His Excellency the President John Mahama's administration, which seeks greater Africa economic sovereignty and reduced dependency on external actors. African leaders have increasingly advocated deeper continental cooperation through trade, industrialization, and investment. What practical steps can turn Africa self-reliance from rhetoric into reality? Now, some education story where the University Teachers Association of Ghana, the KNUST, has rejected aspects of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission's promotion harmonization proposal, arguing they could undermine university autonomy and academic progression. The debate forms part of wider discussion on standards promotions and governance within Ghana's tertiary education sector. The question I'm asking tonight is, should academic promotions be centrally harmonized or left to individual institutions? Economic analysts are warning the inflationary pressures could intensify in June despite recent gains, with concerns over transport costs, fuel-related adjustment, and exchange rate stability remaining key issues. Ghana's economy has shown signs of recovery, but sustaining price stability remains a major challenge. Is the recent stability of the cedi sustainable? So from floods and fire to debt reforms and educational policy battles, tonight's headlines reveals a national balance and immediate challenges with a term ambitions. Join us as we ask the hard questions. Is Ghana prepared for the next flood? That's the first question. Is Ghana prepared for the next flood? Can the economy sustain its recovery? And what future are policymakers building for the next generation? This is News Focus tonight, where the headlines meet the deeper conversations. We ask some questions where you can also join the conversation on tonight's News Focus tonight. Is Ghana prepared for the next flood? Looking at the way things are going, are we prepared for the next flood? And can the economy sustain its recovery? And what future are policy makers building for the next generation? 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also share your thoughts with us. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. You can also join us, share your thoughts with us, or answer any of these questions as to whether we are prepared for the floods. Looking at the way things are going, is Ghana prepared for the floods? Are we prepared for the floods? That's a big question we asking tonight on the News Focus. 053-715-8638. Is Ghana prepared for the next flood? Can the economy sustain its recovery? And what future are policymakers building for the next generation? These are the questions we asking tonight. Whilst waiting for your questions, you can also send your answers to SMS or WhatsApp on 053-715-8638 is the numbers. Tonight in Ghana, the headlines are dominated by major diplomatic recognition for Ghana's parliament, growing pressure on urban safety and disaster management in Accra, challenges in the health sector, renewed debate on Ghana's place in the continental and the global governance, from Parliament to Pan-African leadership halls, from flooding communities to economic concerns. And these are the stories shaping national conversation today. Parliament has formally congratulated Dr. Zenato Agyeman-Rawlings, MP for Klottey Korle, following her election as the Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, PAP. Speaker Agban Bagwe announced the development on the floor of Parliament after receiving official communication from PAP leadership confirming her elevation. The Pan-African Parliament is the legislative arm of the African Union created to promote democracy, integration, and cooperation across Africa. Dr. Zenato's new position gives her ministerial level status across the continent, along with diplomatic privileges and institutional support to carry out her duties. And this is being seen as a major diplomatic win for Ghana, strengthening the country's voice in continental decision-making and showcasing the rising female leadership on the African continent. Let's go to the floor of Parliament and watch what the Speaker of Parliament said.
Your Excellency, referring to the above subject matter, on behalf of the Pan-African Parliament and in my personal capacity, I extend my sincere congratulations to Your Excellency, the government, and the people of the Republic of Ghana, following the election of Honorable Dr. Zenato Agyeman-Rawlings as Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament. The Pan-African Parliament appreciates Your Excellency's support to Honorable Dr. Agyeman-Rawlings and to the entire delegation of Ghana to Pan-African Parliament, referred to usually as PAP, PAP. We hope that Your Excellency will continue to support Honorable Agyeman-Rawlings to enable her to effectively fulfill her duties as Vice President. In this regard, I would like to bring to your esteemed attention the rights associated with the elevated status of Honorable Dr. Agyeman-Rawlings. In accordance with the Constitutive Act, the statutes and protocols of the African Union, Honorable Dr. Agyeman-Rawlings enjoys ministerial status, not only in the host country, South Africa, but also across the African continent. This status comes with the following benefits, among other courtesy measures. 1, an appropriate official vehicle. 2, VIP protection. 3, state protocol services. 4, financial support. 5, an official office. And 6, support staff. In this context, the Pan-African Parliament respectfully requests Your Excellency to facilitate the provision of the aforementioned benefits at national level to Honorable Dr. Agyeman-Rawlings, thereby enabling her to effectively fulfill her responsibilities as Vice President. The Pan-African Parliament also wishes to take this opportunity to reaffirm to Your Excellency its highest esteem and consideration. Signed, His Excellency Fathi Boutbik, President of the Pan-African Parliament. Honorable members, I direct the clerk to get in touch with the Pan-African Parliament to get the details of these requirements and to proceed to ensure that they are provided to the Vice President to enable her to perform her official duties as Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, not just for Ghana, but for the whole of Africa. On your behalf, I want to congratulate her, my own daughter, Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings. Congratulations. Honorable members, in addition to this, our delegation to the Pan-African Parliament distinguished itself to the extent that apart from her being elected as the Vice President of the Pan-African Parliament, other members of the delegation were equally given very key, important positions. We had the First Deputy Speaker, Honorable Bernard Ahiafo, who led the delegation, being made a member of the Rules Committee of the Pan-African Parliament. We also have the Honorable Frank Ano Dompre, the Minority Chief Whip, being made the Chairman of the Health Committee. Again, the Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafiemako, the Majority Chief Whip, has also been made a member of the Finance Committee. And finally, our veteran member here, the Honorable Collins Dauda, was also made a member of the Trade Committee. Please, honorable members, the delegation excelled in the deliberations of the Pan-African Parliament and has honored our country with all these positions. It's important that we convey our greatest congratulations to the delegation and to encourage others to follow the good example of the Pan-African delegation. I'm told that my good friend, the Honorable Minority Chief Whip, really, for good reason, opted from being a member of the Committee on Environment, Science and Technology to that of the Health Committee, where he's not just a member, but the chairman of the committee. So on your behalf, I want to congratulate members of the delegation and to assure them of the support of not only our parliament, but that of the whole country.
We say congratulations to the Pan-African Committee that have showcased what Ghana, the stuff was made of. But someone will ask, why does this matter? This is being seen as a major diplomatic win for Ghana, strengthening the country's voice in the continental decision-making and also showcasing the rising of a female leadership in African politics. The NATO becoming the vice president of the Pan-African. We say congratulations to them. Now, away from the Pan-African, congratulations from the floor of Parliament, we head straight to Accra. The floods and the wetland destruction debate has intensified. Parts of Accra have once again been fully hit by flooding following the heavy rains with experts warning that encroachment on wetlands, waterways continues to worsen the situation. Now, for years, urban planners and environmental experts have warned that rapid construction of flood plains and blocked drainage systems are turning the seasonal rains into reoccurring disasters. The issue has resurfaced strongly in the wake of the past national strategy, including the 3rd June disaster, memories that still shapes public safety discussions. Now, this year flooding has displaced residents, disrupted transport, and also reignited the public anger over weak enforcement of planning regulation. We just want to take a look at what is happening in the flooding in Accra.
Very, very dangerous. So something must be done urgently. Thank you very much. So this is Nana Chrome. Nana Chrome. This is Legon Hill. The rains have caused a lot of damage. The drain is practically full. If the rain should come down again today, it will be very disastrous. And we call on the authorities to come and immediately evacuate or cut away the debris that has blocked the entrance of the bridge, so the flood waters cannot quickly flow away. So authorities, if you can hear me, this is Christian Reverend Amuzu of the Christian Council of Ghana. Kindly respond. Kindly get excavators to cut away the debris that has blocked the entrance of the bridge, because if it rains further, the effect will be disastrous. Please come. This is Nana Chrome. It's Legon Hills, Nana Chrome. Kindly respond. It's near the Pacific Filling Station. It's Legon Hills. You see here, there's a big drain, very big drain, but we have debris, a lot of empty bottles and stakes and wood. In fact, a lot of refuse that has blocked the drainage. So you can see the bridge here. You can see the bridge here, and the debris or the refuse have practically blocked the entrance of the bridge. Do the right thing. Let us ensure that we keep our environment clean, we maintain environmental stewardship, so that we do not endanger our lives and destroy the rest of God's creation.
There's a bridge, then they are telling me that the bridge has also like broken like this one, so I'm going to check the other side too. I don't know if
okay. What's up? I do open one.
So those are various parts of Accra that has been hit with the flood waters ravaged various parts of Accra. Meanwhile, the president has stepped into the national conversation on Accra's reoccurring flood crisis exposing what he describes as the core drivers behind the city's persistent flood challenges. A debate that continues to shape public frustration and policy response and urban planning decision in the capital. From illegal development to blocked waterways, weak enforcement, and the president's remarks have ignited one of Ghana's most pressing environmental infrastructure debates. The president highlighted key factors he believes are driving the reoccurring floods in Accra, warning that the problem is not only climate change, but deeply structured and human-induced. Accra faced repeated flooding over the years, especially during peak raining seasons, with incidents often linked to choked drainage system, construction on waterways, poor urban planning and enforcement gaps, rapid and unregulated urban expansion. Flooding remains one of the most consistent urban disasters affecting livelihood, transport, and systems and infrastructure in the capital. According to the president's remarks reported in recent briefing, the flooding challenge is driven by illegal structures on the waterways and floodplains, blocked drains caused by waste and poor sanitation practices. You saw debris all over, weak compliance with building and zoning regulations, and human activities disrupting the natural drainage system. He is also said to have warned that enforcement agencies must take strong action against unauthorized development contributing to the crisis. The president's comment intensified an already national debate on whether the problem is mainly engineering and infrastructure failure or a deeper issues of indiscipline, enforcement, and urban development. Let's take a listen and watch the president on what he said.
The flooding in Accra is not an engineering problem. It is just a problem of indiscipline. It's not an engineering problem, it's a problem of indiscipline. We have drains, and everybody says, why don't you do sealed drains? But the problem is when we do sealed drains, people drink sachet water, they eat papaya in those styrofoam plastics, and they just dump them anywhere. And these plastics wash into the drain, and they go and block the drain. And so if you have to unclog the drain, you have to remove all the drain covers and clean it out. You clean it out, you cover it again. In the next 3, 4, 5 months, they have clogged again. But that is not even the major problem. The major problem is the location of Accra. You have the Kwapim mountain range, and you have the Atlantic Ocean. Before people came to Accra, you had the Lafa stream, you had the Densu, you had the Sakumo stream, you had the Kole stream, you had the Odo stream. All of them were rainwater that falls in the mountains that flow through to the Atlantic Ocean. Then you come and build a city in the path of those streams. What do you expect the streams to do? And even if you build, leave the causeways. If you come to London, you see the canals in the city. If you go and build a house in that canal, where will the water go? It will go back into people's houses.
Because traditional rulers be ahimfo bi on one. What say? Oma tonton sase. Ewo baby ayisuo ewo.
Where will the water go?
Where would the water go? From policy warnings at the highest level to waterlogged streets across the capital, the message is clear. Ghana's flooding crisis is no longer just an environmental issue. It is a government text. Ghana's flooding crisis, it is no more an environmental issue. it is a government tax. And this is News Focus tonight. 0537158638 is the numbers. You can also have a feel with us, have a conversation with us. We've been looking at the flood waters in Accra, and we've been chancing on it and talking about it. You had a president talking to us, giving us reason why he feels Accra is choked. We've built on the channels where the waterways will find their way to go through to other areas. Now, away from the flooding situation in Accra, let's move straight to the summit where the president is in the United Kingdom and also making sure he's pushing not just African agenda, but pushing other agendas as well. Apart from that, we have this water issues that has intensified, and the intensification of the water issue takes us to another level of the conversation. And this time around, we're going to the Ghana course the UK investors to boost manufacturing, energy, and tourism sector of our economy, where the president spoke on this matter. And that is the first thing we're going to do tonight. So we're turning our attention, we're going to the UK to fine-tune ourselves, and exactly as Ghana costs UK investors to come and invest in Ghana. As government intensify efforts to get UK investors to expand opportunities in manufacturing, energy, and tourism, the three sectors seen as central to drive jobs, industrial growth, and long-term economic transformation. From investment forums to bilateral agreement, Ghana is presenting itself as stable, strategic gateway into the West Africa expanding market. Government has been engaging the UK business leaders, institutional investors, and also encouraging them to exploit opportunities across Ghana's priority sectors, particularly manufacturing, energy, and tourism development. Ghana's renewed investment drive comes as part of broader efforts to strengthen foreign direct investment inflows, support industrialization and value addition, expand tourism and service sector earnings, and also improve energy infrastructure for industrial growth. The UK remains one of Ghana's long-standing trade and investment partners, with historical ties extending across finance, education, as well as infrastructure collaboration. During the recent discussion, Ghana's highlighted opportunities in industrial growth. We go straight to take a listen to the president.
Today, bilateral trade between our two countries exceeds 1.5 billion pounds annually. But I believe this only scratches the surface of what is possible. The future of the Ghana-UK partnership must move beyond traditional trade into deeper strategic collaboration in manufacturing, in technology, infrastructure, agribusiness, renewable energy, financial services, pharmaceuticals, tourism, education, and the digital economy. This summit is therefore not simply a networking event. It is a platform for building long-term partnerships capable of delivering jobs, innovation, industrial growth, and shared prosperity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when my administration assumed office, Ghana faced significant economic difficulties. Investor confidence had weakened, inflation was high, debt vulnerabilities had constrained fiscal space, and businesses were struggling in an atmosphere of uncertainty. We took decisive action through disciplined economic management, institutional reforms, fiscal consolidation, and enhanced coordination between monetary and fiscal authorities. We have restored stability and renewed confidence in the Ghanaian economy.
All right, so you had the president at the UK forum. The big question is, this new renewed investment push is expected to create employment opportunities, especially for the young people, and also to boost local production and reduce import dependency. It will also help to strengthen energy reliability for industry and position tourism as a major foreign exchange earner. However, Analysts say the success of the initiative will depend on policy stability, infrastructure delivery, and investor confidence in regulatory system. The question we are asking tonight is, will investors' commitment translate into real projects on the ground? Can manufacturing finally drive Ghana's industrial transformation? Is the energy sector ready to support large-scale investment? And can tourism become a consistent pillar of economic growth? From the global boardroom to local job creation, Ghana's economy story tonight is one of ambition, opportunity, high expectation. And this is News Focus tonight. We're moving on away from the UK. We're still with the UK. We're looking at the summit, which is a platform to grow the confidence of our people. The summit is a platform for partnership that drives job creation and innovation, according to the President, John Dramani Mahama. Let's take a listen to the key message. The key message from the President to the rest of the world. He set the tone for Ghana's renewed international appeal. You saw what he said to drive and also underscore the importance of the ongoing Ghana-UK economic engagement. The President described the UK investment engagement as a strategic platform designed to deepen cooperation between Ghana and the global investors. The summit is a platform. Now, the statement comes as Ghana steps into efforts to attract foreign direct investment in priority areas, build sustainable partnership with investors, expand job creation through industrial growth, and also promote. But the questions still remain. The statement reinforces Ghana's ambition to attract long-term capital into productive sectors, strengthen the private sector-led growth, boost youth employment and skill development, and position Ghana as a competitive destination for global investment. However, we need to throw caution that the outcome would depend on our policy consistency. Are we ready to do just that? Now let's move straight away to one particular story that has become a thorn in our body politics. A very, very big one in our body politics. I mean, throughout the week, if you're just joining us and watching us, and you happen to keep your channel, is the News Focus. Now, we are shifting our attention from politics and economics to the flooding situation, the social issue. We're going to the pulpit, where the theme of faith, family values, and national sovereignty have taken center stage in recent sermon by leading Ghanaian clergymen. One person, Apostle Sam Korankye-Ankrah. The message has sparked reflection on the moral direction of society and the role of faith in shaping national identity. Apostle Sam Korankye-Ankrah called for a return to strong family structures, spiritual discipline, and national consciousness, urging believers to uphold values that strengthens both homes and society. You know, religious leaders in Ghana continue to play a significant role in national discourse, often addressing issues that go beyond spirituality to include governance, ethics, and social development. Their influence remains strong in shaping public debate on morality and national direction. In this message, the apostle emphasized some 4 important key areas. But first, let's take a listen to the apostle talking about faith, the family value, and the sovereignty to take center stage in our society.
Look at the same subject that we have been discussing since yesterday. Sovereignty, family values, the independence of Africa, both political and economic independence of Africa. I want us to look at the spiritual dimensions of sovereignty today. The subject of sovereignty, submission, and accountability are so dear to the heart of God that God does not compromise on sovereignty. He doesn't compromise on submission. He doesn't compromise on accountability. So I urge this August House that by the time you are coming out with your final charter, there should be no compromises on the sovereignty of Africa. There must be no compromises on the quality of education for our families, our family values, and so on and so forth. For our reflection, I have chosen Daniel chapter number 4 and verse number 17, the New International Version, Daniel 4:17. The decision is announced by messengers. The holy ones declare the verdict, so that the living may know that the Most High is sovereign. The Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms of the earth, and gives them to anyone he wishes, and sets over them the lowliest of the people. Daniel 4:17. This is the story and the testimony of a very powerful king, Nebuchadnezzar, around the period between 600 and 500 BC. He was so powerful, he had such a powerful empire that pride and arrogance had entered into his heart, and he had begun to forget about the God who had lifted him up. And God shows him a vision. In the vision, he sees a very huge tree that so many birds are feeding on top of the tree, and then some animals also taking their homes beneath the tree. And then the angel of the Lord cried and said, "Cut off the tree, cut off the tree." He woke up, he was very disturbed, and then he began to seek the meaning of the dream. And then after Daniel, the prophet of God, had encounter with him and showed him the meaning, and said, "You are the one that God is showing. You have become so powerful that you have forgotten where God picked you. You have forgotten to be accountable to God. You have forgotten to be accountable to the people of God. So God is going to cut off your throne." Ladies and gentlemen, what will follow would be 7 years of insanity. Nebuchadnezzar became insane, and he began to behave like an animal until God restored him, and then he gave this testimony. What are the lessons for this story in Daniel chapter 4 and verse number 17? Number one, God is saying that he is a sovereign God and he will not compromise sovereignty. So God is reminding us that he is a sovereign God. He must be given his place, he must be given his due recognition, and he must be given his due attention. Number two, God is reminding the policymakers here, the executive office holders here, the civil advocates here, and all the people who have gathered here. God is reminding you that you are holding trust on behalf of the people, and that you are accountable first to God, and then secondly, you will be accountable to the people that you lead. So number one, God is sovereign. Number two, you are holding a position of trust, and that you will be called to account. That all public office holders are first accountable to God, and then to the people they lead. Now, God does not demand accountability for us in a fiat situation or in a situation that is unconditional. Now, God, before he began to ask accountability from us, he has first of all blessed our earth with the blessings of God. So God has a stake in the affairs of men. It says that you may know that God is interested in the affairs of men, and God is interested in the kingdoms and authorities and the political powers and governments of men, so that God will account all of us to accountability. In Genesis chapter number 1 and verse 20, it says, here is God's investment. Here is God's investment. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the sky.
So Apostle emphasizing on the international forum the importance of strong and stable family system, the need for moral discipline and sovereignty rooted in values and identity, the responsibility of faith communities and shaping societal behavior. He urged believers to remain grounded in principle that promotes unity, responsibility, and moral integrity. The sermon reflects ongoing national conversation around the youth values and social behavior, the stability of family systems in modern society, the influence of faith institution in governance and culture, and national identity having shaping national policy structures under increasing social pressure. Can moral messages translate into real societal change? From the pulpit to public discourse, tonight's message reinforces a familiar national question: what role should faith play in shaping Ghana's future? 15868 is the numbers you can join us. You can add your voice to any of the stories that we've shared with you tonight on the News Focus. 0537158638 is the numbers you can also share your thoughts with us on any of the stories we have churned out today. Few more minutes, we will be. I'll be walking away. Kenya Yesusu and the Enyumrea. Identifying flood issues is becoming a perennial thing. How do we all help to solve it? You hear the president talking. Amayate wonka ene enri enso enchibia na Sam George shoots down sexual rights and family value bill. Mete wonka obetumi akasa wa menu akasa ne yenko. So utie hu o TV no so dia yentumi ne nkomo. I'm very sorry about that. The Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Neti George, has strongly opposed calls for Parliament to reconsider the legislation, insisting the House has completed its constitutional mandate and must now transmit the bill to the President for further action. 0537158638. 0537158638. 80 arrested as police seized narcotics, ammunition, and casino machines in the Upper East operation. Focus on data, not porn ID policy, Yidam tells Sam George. Accra floods, years of hard work swept away as Flourish loses everything. Court warns of strike. Hello. Sly, found the back line there or Hamiono. I can't hear anything from them. I can't hear anything anybody who calls in. 0537158638. Court warns of striking out Mamobi baby theft case over disclosure delays. Do we sell tomatoes here? Judge keeps as accused 6 reduction in bail over police armored vehicle theft. PCR take that line off. Driver mate killed in a fuel tanker explosion in the Ashanti region. 9-year-old left traumatized after a court order eviction displaces her family. Government considering mandatory photo ID checks for photographic website Sam George. Stop the partisan games and pass a foolproof anti-LGBTQ plus law, Dr. Oponi Frimpong charges MPs. These are some of the headlines we're going to bed with tonight. 053-715-8638 is the number. 053-715-8638 is the numbers. No room for reconsideration of anti-LGBTQ plus Sam George. At the first in question, the practicing of transferring renewed mining license. There's also another question that has come up tonight. Operationalize Afari Silm Hospital to ease pressure on Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. Upon Fosu congratulate ongoing NDC chairmanship ambition, President Farmers call for 6-month ban on rice imports. And those are some of the stories. The Ministry of Health queries the CEO of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital of a knee-jerk response. Focus on delivery of government policies. Professor Opoku Agyeman to the NDC. Cut out desperation for power. Fifi Kwete warns NDC members that they should cut out desperation for power. The General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Fifi Kwete, has cautioned party members and other political leaders against pursuing leadership position out of personal ambition, warning that desperation for power can lead to poor governance and national decline. While speaking at the 47th anniversary commemoration of the June 4th uprising, today, Thursday, June 4th, Fifi Kwete urged aspiring leaders, particularly within the NDC, to prioritize service to the nation and over individual political ambition. According to him, leadership should emerge naturally from a genuine desire to serve, rather than from a personal pursuit of political power. He cited former President John Evans Fifi Atta-Mills and John Dramani Mahama as examples of leaders who did not aggressively change power, but responded when called upon to serve the country. In contrast, he criticized former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for arguing that excessive personal ambition for presidency can negatively affect governance. So my plea to all my people who are aspiring to lead our country, especially the NDC, is to cut out desperation. He stressed that political leadership should not be treated as a personal entitlement or an ambition to be pursued at all costs. Well, this is where time will allow us to come your way with today's edition of the News Focus tonight. It's been a wonderful time being with you from 9 to a minute to hit the 10th hour. And as we wrap up, and that brings us to the end, tonight we have followed Ghana's major stories, from renewed efforts to attract investment from the United Kingdom into manufacturing, energy, and tourism, to the strong national conversation on flooding in Accra and the urgent need for lasting urban solution. We also brought you updates on development in governance, faith, and society, where questions of values, leadership, and national direction continue to shape public debate. As always, this story reminds us of a nation at a crossroad, balancing economic ambition and social challenges and the demand for stronger institution and accountability. I'm L. Samuels. Thank you for watching. Do stay tuned for more updates right here. Good night.